Well, welcome, everyone, and to WeAwake. And this is a weekly meditation that we do together. And we do it using brain entrainment technology that takes us all to whatever specified brainwave state, the particular track that we're using that day listening to takes the brain. And I won't get into the details of how the brain entrains, but take my word for it, or go to the website. Or anyway, there's tons of research on it all over the place. But today we're continuing to work with Profound Meditation Program 3.0, at last count, tracks that you get in this one particular suite. And the first three tiers, level 1, 2, and 3, entrain the brain to ever deepening delta. Okay. And the sound is rain, and which I really like. I've spent some wonderful times in tents, in cabins, in the rain, in the wilderness, and anyway, I really like it. And these are just wonderful tracks. And I've used them for years now. At least 10 years I've been using these particular tracks, and you can use them one at a time, like track one the next day if you just want to do 20-minute meditations, or you can put them back to back, or in times of extra stress and real problems, if you have issues to work through, or transitions in your life, or depression, or tragedy, you just lost a loved one or something like that. These tracks can be an incredible help, and you can just listen to them. And often when I'm driving across the country for the last, gosh, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years, I can't figure it out. Pam and I have been involved. Our regular home is in southern Utah, but we've been here, well, first in Texas with my parents, and now with her mom in Louisiana, here to help take care of our parents as they get older. And so that is a lot of driving through really empty spaces of the American Southwest and West. And I've often, put on my headphones and listen to these tracks back to back while I'm going through the desert Southwest. And it's amazing. Now, don't do this, if you live in Brooklyn or, downtown Los Angeles or something with a lot of traffic. I don't think it's good. But if you're just, on these roads, I think it actually helps you to stay more alert than you would regularly if you're just going to driving for miles. So anyway, that's just one of the ways I've used these tracks. And we're on level 3, track 1, and about 2, 3. I mean, this is my interior experience. It starts getting really heavy. It starts, being heavy lifting as far as the meditation and brain entrainment goes. So 3, 1, this whole third tier is very powerful stuff. So let's use our discipline and what we've learned about meditation, whatever particular technique or method that you use. There's many methods to meditate, and basically I think most of them are for the same thing. It's to wake us up. It's to stop our discursive mind for a bit so we can just deal with pure awareness, and from in that pure awareness is very generative. All kinds of great things could happen. I think it's that very awareness that the Big Bang sprung from. So at the same time, I think we can tap into the source of all things in our meditation. And as an individual, that is really good for us. And as a part of this collective human experience, it's extraordinary and probably absolutely necessary at this time in our human journey and growth. So without further ado, let's get this thing rolling, Vanessa. Well, welcome back. I've got to come up with a different way of saying we didn't go anywhere. Maybe we did go somewhere. We definitely went inside individually and collectively. Thank you for that beautiful meditation. And you can tell when you're meditating with other people, there's just a feel, there's something that's created there. So we all kind of piggyback off of one another. And there's actually been research to show that when you meditate in groups, and maybe there's some pretty senior meditators in there that can actually help the beginners along, and to get to that place, or to do the kind of work they need to do in meditation. And yesterday I had a conversation with a lovely person who was going through some stuff that I think a lot of us have been going through in this very difficult year of 2020, and which has largely continued on in a lot of ways. It's been really stressful, and especially if you're in service industries where you have to meet with people and people that are suffering and whatnot, and which somewhat Pam and I still do with WeAwake and the work that we do in the world. But we were coaches and counselors and therapists for years, and I was a wilderness guide and working with people, in a lot of pain, a lot of trouble in their families. That's what we did. But how do you know when you start to get burnout, and you start to get crispy? Well, you start dreading getting up in the morning. Greeting the sun doesn't seem like a good thing. You just want to pull the pillow over your head, and stay in bed. You start getting anhedonic, which is the inability to experience pleasure. You don't want to watch TV, you don't do this, you do that, or maybe you just want to get lost in TV. I don't know. But when I start getting depressed, that doesn't help. And what does that say? Well, that's a warning light. It was a little robot. Warning, warning, Will Robinson. Anyway, 60s television show. Later, they did a movie or a series afterwards. Lost in Space. Anyway, so what do you do? What are some of the antidotes for that? Well, first of all, meditation. Okay, and this particular medication. Well, I guess it is kind of medication. Is really good for burnout and for depression. And it just renews you. So building a meditation practice in your life is hugely useful. It will change everything, and it might happen really dramatically, or it might happen over months or years. But there's no way when you look back, it's like, oh, that was time wasted, or that wasn't good. It really changes things from the inside out. And exercise, of course. And of course, a lot of places in the world, the gyms are closed down. You can't do that. So you just have to work around it, no excuses, right? I mean, you can just using your own body weight, do all kinds of things. Or, depending where you live, there's all kinds of workout programs you can find on YouTube and etc. You can start, here's a really good practice, is a Qigong practice, or Tai Chi, working with a lot of stuff that's available on YouTube. And now with our earbuds, you don't have to do Qigong with a string, a wire hanging on your shoulder. It's really nice. And so there's some people that I've worked with online that's really, really helpful. And another thing is building in time to connect with nature. Okay. And there's a whole field of psychology called eco-psychology that I participated in, being a wilderness guide, and I read up on it because there was the great mystery of how come when we go out in the woods or the wilderness in the desert, we just feel better, we start getting healthier, we function better as human beings. And I've thought about this almost every way you can think of, trying to approach it kind of scientifically, and I still haven't kind of figured it out. It's just so it does change us. And of course, we have some tracks that work with the vibrational frequency that the earth seems to emanate, and those are really powerful too. But I found a place, and we're in Louisiana now, and when we're in southern Utah, it's so blessed because most of it's public land, which means it's BLM, Bureau of Land Management, Forest Service, or National Park. So you can basically go anywhere. It's not like barbed wire fences everywhere. Keep out, no trespassing, all this stuff drives me crazy. But here in Louisiana, which has it's very different, obviously, than nature here. Is very different from the kind of what's in southern Utah, the deserts, the mountains, all that stuff, red rocks. But I have found a wildlife refuge. So every day, just about every day, Tatum, my dog, and myself, and sometimes get Pam to go with us, and we'll go out and we'll walk in these woods, in deciduous forest, and there's a bayou, that runs through it, like big alligators. So we kind of try to keep my dog away from the 17-foot alligators, but very nice. And we had this historic winter storm. Every day I was out there in the freezing rain and the snow and the wind and the rain, and just you just dress appropriately. As a wilderness guide, I know how to dress in inclement weather, and every day we'd go out there and just to see the subtle changes in the woods, at different times of day, and the different weather patterns and everything. God, it's been so nurturing to me, and I'm just so grateful that I found that place, even in places where there's not that much public lands available as in southern Utah. So whether that's a walk in the park, Central Park, if in New York, really helps. I've used that as a place of refuge when I've been in New York before. Or just there's a lot of great parks. Get out there, or even if you have to just have a flower in your your window that you kind of connect with and you water and you hang around with, even that's good. So let's not forget, as a part of our staying healthy, as our part of staying well, as a part of our waking up and staying awake and continuing to wake up at deeper and deeper and more functional levels, to remember the things that we have to include. And it may seem a bit challenging at first. Oh gosh, I've got all this stuff to do now. You say I got to do this and that. But if you do it, and oftentimes what forces us to actually engage in ongoing practice or practices is suffering. If everything's going groovy and you feel good, it's like, well, most of us don't have the motivation. Some of us do, because we just know it somehow that this is what we're supposed to do, and we'll engage. But often at times it's the suffering gets really intense, the depression or the anxiety or the burnout, whatever it might be, or the emptiness, the existential voidness of you seem to be living in a empty universe without meaning, and that can be pretty hard. So to engage in these things and put them, put your practices number one, because if you don't take care of yourself and tuning the instrument, can you imagine if you were a guitar player and you said, well, I just really don't want to spend money on new strings, and I think tuning is just a bummer. So you have a guitar in every tune, old beat up string, and pretty soon you wouldn't have any strings left. You'd just be scraping on wood or something. So you have to, pay attention and honor the instrument that is our own body in all its, subtle and aspects, and spiritual and psychological and energetic things. We have to take care of it. And if we do better. And if we do, then we can be of service. And the universe starts looking more friendly, and life begins to be more purposeful, and the synchronicities begin to kind of kick in. It's like, oh, these like strange things that happen, that just kind of seem to be exterior evidence that's kind of corresponding to our inner searching that happen when we begin to actualize. Carl Jung and Abraham Maslow talked about. So we have to help it, and we realize now one of the big learnings, of human being is that evolution happens. Okay, and there's a lot of different versions of that, But if you just look at the evolution of technology since you first came onto the planet, it's like, oh my God, everything has changed, in the last 20 or 30 years. It's just been amazing. Well, that kind of stuff happens in all the other domains, and you can look at your physical body from an infant to old age and all the changes and processes that we go through, and the cultural evolution of the human family together, and all that we're learning, or we're stumbling on sometimes, and trying to get to be more just, wiser, and better than that taste of the good that draws us on for our own individual lives, and also collectively. So it's all there, but we have to take care of ourselves, and that's the starting ground. And if you do that, then you can expand your circles of care and compassion and goodness, where you can begin to help others, and then it all starts to it just begins to fall into place and make sense. Oh, this is why I'm alive. Okay, and this is why even suffering can be ennobling, can be deepening, and connects me with everyone, because everyone suffers. All creatures are born into physical existence. Go through this. So, thing is to wake up and to experience it on all levels, but anchored in our deepest self, and where the meaning and the purpose and understanding and knowledge of who and what we are at the deepest levels emerges. So anyway, go for a walk today, meditate today, get exercise, get to the point where your heart's really pumping and you break out in a sweat, at least once a day, just that. And the fun thing about it is the more you do these things, the better it gets. The more you become tuned into the woods, for example, in my walks, and Taya and I, we just like to stop and watch and get really silent. It's brilliant. It gets better and better. Same thing with meditation. It becomes, instead of a task, it becomes, oh, coming home again. Love this, come back to center. Same thing as exercise. A healthy body loves to work out, that's just what human bodies do, and if you're not there yet, well, yeah, it's going to take a little discipline in the beginning, but there's all kinds of, resources online, and YouTube and all this stuff to help us get started. Look at the science of it. Oh my God, I've read so many books on now, and articles and papers on exercise and the great things it does for the body. And the same thing is emerging in meditation, and the same thing in exposure to nature, and the same thing in relationships. I think we've all felt that. And I'll shut up after this because I'm going on for a while. But I think this pandemic has really reinforced how important it is we are to one another. I mean, even the contact with another person in a restaurant, the waitress or the waiter, or at a gas station, or any of this stuff. When you take that away, you feel lonelier, you feel more separated. So a really good practice is beginning to really appreciate one another, and appreciate our connections, appreciate our friendships, these deep relationships that have some kind of powerful karmic, thing. I think one who was, I can't remember the name of the psychologist, he wrote a book. He said there's like 10 relationships in your life, important ones, that if you don't pay attention to and really cultivate, you're probably not going to be happy. Simple as that. So pay attention to our relationships, and also pay attention to everyone that we meet on the street, from the homeless person to, the person at the gas station, and the person there and there, and just treat them all as God, okay, as bodhisattvas, because they all are, even if it doesn't look like it. So here's to now. Anyway, I won't go down that road, but anyway, I think that's important. And thank you guys for being here, and we love you, and let's keep doing this together, and let's just get better. Let's just cruise through this thing in the best possible way, with the most wisdom, love, compassion, flow, genius, wisdom, all that stuff. And we can cultivate that on a daily basis. So there we go. All right, thank you so much.